Oh, good morning, everybody, and welcome to ITHive.org's live tech show, episode 39. Oh, we're getting there. So, anyway, it's the day before Canada Day, so I have to say happy birthday to my fellow countrymen, and have a good time, good, safe time. Today, I just wanted to talk a little bit, little continuation, I had a discussion with one of my vendors where I get all my hardware from for my customers. And, it's always nice when you hear from somebody else and they're talking about your business. And one thing I was talking to her about was, and I've been trying to do this for a while, and I think we're getting close to be able to do it. But so I have an account with them and I get discounted rates on hardware and software and all these things. And what I wanted to try and set up for my customers is that they would be able to log into with their own user ID and password into my vendor's account and see all the things that they had available to purchase, but at the prices that I was getting. Okay. Because then that way they can shop and look around for things. Sometimes shopping is a very personal thing. And so we're talking about how we get this done. And, one of the big differences for me in my business, and I've been doing this for over 20 years, and one thing that I used to spend a lot of time before in previous lives, looking for hardware and software for people, and then you get it at a good rate, and then you add a little bit of a markup on it, right, and then you sell it and stuff. But that's always so time consuming, right? And I wanted to simplify that a little bit, and also give my customers who are members some more benefits, right? And so one of the things that that I'm doing here is that if we can get them their own login ID and they can shop and they can get things at a good price, I can still help, right, at whatever level is needed, right? But maybe sometimes I don't need to, maybe they have a printer and they just need to order ink, right? Well, if they can just do that, right, and get a good rate on it and get it shipped to them directly and stuff like that, it's a lot more efficient, right? And then they're seeing some benefits of having a membership. We're giving them access to that. And anyway, I'm talking to this with my vendor, and of course, she lives in a world that, all of her customers are close to resellers because they resell the stuff that they have to other customers, and they get a bit of a markup, right? And I'm saying to her, well, I don't want to do that. And that she responded, amongst other things we talked about, she said, well, you're not like any other tech support company. You're not doing things the way that other tech companies do. And you know what? I was very happy and proud to hear that, because that is exactly what we are attempting to do. Unfortunately, in the world of business, and we see this a lot, and I often pick on the cell phone industry, right, or the mobile industry, or the telco industry, or the cable industry, and all these industries suffer from the same problem. And it's not like there's similar problems in IT support as well. And that problem is that we mimic our businesses around the same frustrating, failed business models that our competitors are doing, right? So at the end of the day, the consumer has no choice. They can't go to a better company. I face this right now with cell phones. So I'm up to now probably almost $400 a month we pay for cell phone services. I've got kids and my wife, and we all got cell phones, right? It's expensive, right? Um, and it's sometimes very frustrating with the current company that I'm with. They started out really good. They came. They were a new introduction to Canada. They came with an attitude of great customer service and all that stuff. And then I don't know what happened to them, but over 2-3 years, I guess maybe they started hiring employees from competitors, and then they just started to act and behave like the other cell phone companies. So again, we have nothing, right? And so this is what ITHive.org is trying to change here. Because of the years of service in this industry that I have personally had, I've listened to customers, and I've been in situations where there's been frustration and where the customers has felt wrongly or rightly, that they've been let down, or that they've had a problem that hasn't been addressed properly, or that they, were paid too much, or that, they had problems and they felt that could have been, prevented. So all of these things I've accumulated and listened to, and kind of remembered and hung on to, and in the existence of ITHive.org, I'm trying to get that out there, to not have these problems, right? And so there's things that I do, and things I look for as well, right? Even customers, right? A good example of this is that, when I engage with a new customer, it's going to sound kind of funny, because I'd love to have more new customers, and I can definitely handle more new customers. But on the other side of it, some folks, some businesses, some business owners are just not ready. They still have this old mentality and an old preconception of what and how tech should be managed. And unfortunately, a lot of this is driven by, the traditional tech company that's just really screwing up the industry, in my mind, right? So they have all these problems, and they come with all this luggage, and I try and lead them. The old saying, right? You can lead a horse to water, but the horse you got to drink, right? And sometimes I just have to let that relationship go, because I already know that kind of have a philosophy here, is that good customers for ITHive.org are going to be customers that are willing participants, right? And they get what we're trying to do, and they get what we're trying to do for them, right? And and that's there. And I make efforts. It's sometimes difficult with new customers, but I make efforts to try and teach and educate that out there. But sometimes not always successful. But I'm happy to let that go, because I've learned long enough that a customer that is not understanding of what they're getting from us is probably better left to not join, and until maybe later on, when they are ready, or when they do get it. And what is it? What is it all about? And I talked about this in episode 38, right? It's truly about a partnership, right? A partnership where you, as a business owner or as a residential customer, you use your technology, and you use it to do whatever you're doing, right? Whether you run your business or just update Facebook, whatever the case may be. But we are there in the background to make sure that you're doing and able to do this safely, able to do it confidently, able to reach out for help when you need it, right? Able to purchase technology, and have that sales cycle actually be supported by human beings, so that when you buy something, right, if there's an issue, an after sales issue, whatever, it can be dealt with, right? You know, a good example of this, I've got a couple of examples recently of this, and that is, so not a customer, but I know somebody who purchased a computer from Amazon, right? And they had all kinds of issues after the sale. They bought a warranty, and then they found out that the warranty was not valid in Canada. And this is systemic to a tech industry that is void of human beings. And they had a horrible time trying to resolve that issue, right? Because, of course, Amazon is very much moving towards the direction of operating without human beings, and the human beings they have working with them are not treated very well, so they probably don't care that much about their jobs. They just care about holding on to their job, right? So the culture is kind of broken there, and I've long learned that in business, a smart owner knows that their bottom line, that their success comes from their employees, and you have to treat them right. So a little bit of a divergence. So that's kind of an issue, right? So the price might look good, you buy it and stuff like that, but then what happens with the after sales support? Now, to contrast this, I've had a couple of instances where, things can go wrong, right? So I had a client who is a customer. They bought some ink for their Lexmark printer, and it was a high yield. He does a lot of printing. Typically this lasts him for a year, a little bit over a year. High yield cartridge, fairly expensive, around $300 or whatnot. And he gets it, and it's not full. After, less than 30 days, it starts telling him that, he needs new ink, right? And so, I worked with him, and I checked it out, and I went back to my supplier and said, hey, we got a problem here. We have to sort it out. And you know what? It was dealt with. We got him a new cartridge, which was fine. We sent the broken one back, and we got a refund for it, and it was all dealt with. And what did my customer have to do to deal with this frustration? Absolutely nothing. We took care of it for him, right? And I worked with my vendor to make that happen for him. And that's really important, Another example, a little bit more frustrating for me because I hate this kind of nonsense, but we had a part sent to a customer. The shipping address was wrong, and the end supplier sending it out was just another one of these nightmares. And no matter what we did, we couldn't get them to send the part to the right place, right? And very frustrating situation. And at the end of the day, they actually sent the part to a different company. So really, really stupid. So again, I reach out to my supplier, right, and say, hey, we need to solve this problem. We need to solve it because this is just way out of control. And you know what? This is what I was looking for, but this is what they offered, and that was great. So they said, well, we'll redo the order and we'll ship it by air to your customer. And the customer did get it the next day, and it was dealt with and solved, right? And I still have to get a credit for the one that was sent to the wrong, but you know what? Dealt with again. Customer doesn't have to deal with that, right? And that's what you're getting here. You know, we work in partnership with our customers. You know, you can think of us as your virtual IT department, and we just want things to work smoothly. And we can do that with a true partnership. You know, in contrast, and these are good examples of customers that I just let them go. If they don't understand that concept of partnership, that we need to work together to deliver solutions and they need to be an integral part of that, well, I'm moving on to another customer that gets that, because it's just too much work, right? You know, it's just going to end in frustration. I already know that. So why should we do that? Anyway, so hope there's a little bit more there, and I'm over the 15 minutes, so we'll end this. And just a shout out again, happy birthday, everyone in Canada. And, you know, have a safe week and enjoy the long weekend for those that are getting it. Of course, my American friends have a birthday coming up too. Happy birthday to you guys too, on the 4th. And yeah, so we'll talk to you all next week for episode 40. All right. See ya. Safe trucking. And if you know somebody who's frustrated with technology, or you are, please come our way, right? We got room for you, you know, and we can make things work. All right. See ya. Have a good day and enjoy the weekend.